Hello, viewers. I'm SB.
And I am Amabel, and I'm like this on purpose.
It's true as far as I know. And welcome back to Amabel Goes to 4X School, where we are hauling ass. Victory condition wise, we're really on the move here. We managed to embarrass the only army of the War Grove of Woe pretty badly last episode, and now we are on the move to punish them for their hubris. How dare they think they can attack us at all? Look at what all these move speed bonuses I picked up are allowing us to do. Look at it. Look at the distance of it. It's so beautiful. All right, we got 11 turns to the end of this WOG, and honestly, I think we're going to be able to carry these armies through the end of the game.
Oh, wow.
Well, through the end of our set of objectives, right? 11 more turns.
We're that close, though. Okay.
I think so, right? We're at 20 something, 23 of the settlements we need. In order to wrap up these things, we're going to have to hit like 4 or 5 more, and then we're also expanding to the east. I think we're actually very close to finishing the short campaign.
Okay.
Thing. Now, there's one more thing outside of that I would like to talk about, but it's probably not a today issue. We'll get there when we get there. So, for right now, Scarsnick is going to march on Howling Rock. We're just going to take everything in this wide open plain here. Howling Rock will complete our control of the Blasted Wastes, which is, of course, a very good thing. We will continue to grow here and to make more money. And we're stacking away a fair amount of scrap per turn. We have some reasonable upgrades available. I'm going to see if I can't help out Grimgor a little bit here, just like poke at these armies. I successfully performed an assassination, didn't I? Nope, my stats are just really bad. Never mind. Here, we can maybe block this army. I am not likely to be able to assassinate their packmaster, Puss-Stitch the Insane. Because look at this guy. Look how tough he is. Look at all those modifiers. That's a high-level target. We'll see if we can interfere with this army.
He went bananas.
I failed, but I tried, and you do get credit for trying. In the world of Warhammer, everybody's like, "Oh, look at him."
Yeah.
Okay, so our Confederation penalty has worn off, by the way. Let's see if we can get a little bit of... Still can't quite get that non-aggression pact. But our Grimgor's opinion of us is growing. I think we'll get there.
I want people in the chat to recognize that I said the insane rat, he went bananas. It's not a reference that you're going to get, but I made a reference that's very funny. Everyone give me high fives.
Oh my God. Varg Pigkisser has managed to critically fail in his attempt to block the Tree Man army, and so wounded once again. How much time we've only been playing the game for 73 turns. How many turns have we had at least one hero wounded from his own incompetence in attempting to perform very basic tasks?
A lot.
Yeah, it does. Also, it feels like a lot, right?
It's really funny to me that you said it's only been 73 turns. That's still crazy to me. 73 turns is an insane number of turns for a game.
Yeah, but it's less insane when you compare it to like 50 turns of heroes having wounded themselves. I'm sorry, are you snacking? Amabel, sometimes I think that you don't treat this class with the gravity that it deserves. She's doodling in the margins of her notebooks. She's passing mash notes.
Math notes?
Mash notes.
What are mash notes?
It's like, that's a thing where like you have a crush on somebody.
Oh, do you like me? Circle yes or no.
I think so. I don't know. I had a highly non-standard high school experience, so I kind of just have to...
Right.
This is some shit that I've absorbed from popular media.
I'm treating this with respect, but also I recognize that I need to eat food today,
Okay, sure.
which I haven't done yet.
Eating food to live is important. Amabel, you do have to eat. You cannot. It's evening.
Early evening.
You do have to eat more often than that. More often than once a day is what I'm going to say.
I usually do.
It's not even early, really. We are mid-evening. Amabel, battle's a blood-soaked affair.
Shit.
Some people might say it's brutish, nasty, boisterous. I'm making a hilarious reference to the title of a game that Amabel put out recently, but I can't remember the whole thing because it's very long. But so these events, whenever you see yes, here's the title of the game, which the viewers cannot see.
Okay, you go ahead first, then I'll.
No, go.
It is called A Battle, furious, bloody, repulsive, crimson, gory, boisterous, manly, rough, fierce, unmerciful, and hostile. Is the name of this game that came out.
It is a quotation, yes?
Yes, it's a quotation of a translation of the Kogad, which is a Irish source material from the medieval period about the campaigns of like Brian Boru, a bunch of people, but Brian Boru was a big chunk of it, and the High Kings of Ireland and fighting Vikings and whatnot.
That dude's showing up a lot in this particular Let's Play, this particular class here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so whenever you get one of these text boxes where it's like there's a bunch of text and the box is all splattered with blood, this is one of these like just increase the brutality events that comes along with. So the game does not have blood in it by default for rating reasons. It's like they can sell it as a T, as rated T if it doesn't have blood or some. I don't know exactly why. But there is a pack that you can download. It's like a DLC on Steam that you can download that enables not just blood, but like dismemberment for units and stuff. And we've seen a couple of units be just like absolutely exploded by the force of a charge or whatever. And when you enable that pack, it also enables these special brutality events, which are just like everybody everywhere gets some bonus stats for 5 turns, go fuck each other up. And this stuff is interesting because it affects different armies differently, right? If every attack everywhere does 20 more damage, that's way more valuable for, say, an army of goblins where there's 160 bodies per unit swinging, however often they swing,
Right.
than it is for an army that's made up of like 19 highly elite elf characters who each got a 5% boost to their damage, effectively, So that's neat. I think those events are cool. You can see here this the remnants of this Tree Man army are using the world routes. This is their access to the underway, effectively, to run away from Becoffin. They're trying to get through the magic forest back to Griffin Wood, and I do think it behooves us to stop them from doing that. So we might just stop off and visit the Griffin Wood. I noticed that the Griffin Wood is not very well defended. They have not bothered to produce a real garrison here. So they have 10 units. About half of it's just Glade Guard, which is just standard elf archers. Pretty good archers, as far as archers go. 170 range allows them to outrange most other ranged units. But like certainly 10 units of pretty standard elves are not going to stand up to the fury of Grognock Foespike. Our enemy attempts to go to ground, and we leave them no ground to go to. Here's the thing. We can't live in the Griffinwood. Magical forests are a nightmare for us. But notice if we sack this, we have a significant number of bonuses to the amount of money we make when we sack things. I'm just going to sack this and get 12,000 gold worth of plunder. Going to level ourselves up, get access to even more regiments of renown. And then next turn, I intend to burn it the rest of the way down. But that was a very large amount of money. I felt it would be foolish to skip it,
Right.
So let's grab evasion. Our giant river troll hag has hit the sort of middle of the magic skill tree, and every magic character has, well, almost every magic character has evasion in between their two spell boxes. It's just some movement speed and some melee defense. Here's how you don't die immediately if someone gets on you.
Right.
Azhag is going to continue on up to here. Now, keep in mind, we're in March mode, so we're like relatively exposed. It's pretty easy to jump an army where everybody's tired, but like there's just nothing. There's nothing threatening in the area, right?
Yeah.
Gouger Rotgut is gonna continue harassing these nerds.
You're the boss.
Hey, we successfully blocked that army.
Now, dogs.
Great job. And so part of the reason I'm doing this is for XP. Part of it is that this stuff does affect the relationships you have. You can see here, they approve of hero actions against the disciples of Hashut and Clan Rictus. 4 points of our positive reputation with them are because we have been poking at these armies and generally just making life miserable for the people that they're fighting.
They love that shit.
They love that shit. They are
There's plenty
paying
of stuff for them.
they are paying attention and they think it is rad.
Skarsnik, kill 'em all.
All right, Skarsnik is going to go have lunch.
They cheer whenever Gogor Rutgut comes in through the door.
He does. You know how he does it. He kicks the door open, all funny, and he's like, "Hey!"
He does his favorite catchphrase. Yeah.
I was gonna do a Michael Richards, but it kind of came out as Andy Dick, huh?
Neither of them are great. So
I wasn't. Yeah, please don't take that as an endorsement of either. I don't know why you would. Anyway, Skarsnik.
I got me brother.
Skarsnik sure does have his prodder. What were we doing with you? I don't have any idea. Oh, we were picking up all this squig stuff, but now we've done that. And so, even better at fighting? Honestly, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. At this point, it's so unlikely to matter.
this is unrelated, unlike everything else I've said in this
Yeah.
series. But sitcoms have that trope of the character who comes in and everyone cheers. But I feel like there's more things, parodying that, making fun of that, than it actually exists in sitcoms. It doesn't happen all that often. Like there is the Kramer thing, but
I'm with you. I'm following. That was the whole bit. Okay.
That was the whole. I think that's interesting. It's
Yeah. That's far from the only thing like that too, right? Like sometimes the sort of cultural reaction to a thing completely eclipses the impact of the thing itself in every meaningful way. We have completed the control of the blasted wastes. We haven't really had to do a lot of like complicated stuff with our commandments or anything. There's kind of just like one commandment that's better than the others. And I find that is the case with a lot of the factions. It very rarely makes sense to like swap them around. There's just kind of like the build infrastructure commandment. I don't want to overstate that. There are reasons here and there, but
yeah, but this is the thing with the 4X genre more broadly, is that there are things that are just correct to do, as you've that are just the better thing to do always.
Yeah,
they're really complicated games. It's hard to balance them in ways where, especially something like this, where there is some variability in some aspects, but it's a fixed map, fixed starting locations. So there are things that are going to arise that are going to be better to do, better commands, better ways to start.
and as far as like these games receive a lot of patches and attention post-release, but as far as things that need fixing, that kind of stuff is very low on the priority list.
That's interesting to me.
It's like you have X hours of developer time to devote to the stuff going into the next patch. Who's up for a rebuild of the commandment system versus rebalancing armies against each other, or making new units, or designing new events, or
the thing of patching games in and of itself is
we're not done with you
interesting
yet,
to me.
sweetie.
The thing of patching games in the first place is interesting to me because, first of all, we generally don't do that in board games. There is like errata sometimes, but it's not.
Yeah, or you'll see the second edition of a game change something.
Yeah, but the thing where there are gradual rollouts of changes is not really a thing that exists in that space for reasons having to do with the physicality of the games.
Yeah.
But like video games having patches in the first place is something that I did not encounter until I came back to computer games after my hiatus, because I was used to games like, that's the game you have. You don't get to change it after.
Okay, you were not aware of a thing that already existed. Is what's happening in that case. That's not a change necessarily. But so we have here we're being war has been declared on us by Theodoric Gosser of Nordland, strength rank 55. An army, a faction that is much weaker than we are, but that shares a border here. I think what's happening is he has seen that we've not really had any troops in this area in a while, and so he thinks he can just come over here and grab this. He unfortunately does not know that, for reasons unrelated to his presence, Azhag has been moving towards Zavastra for several turns. And so my guess is we're going to see an army come across the border. We're going to devour them. He's going to immediately sue for peace, and we're not going to accept, because it turns out we do actually need his territory. No allies have chosen to become involved in this dispute. Yep, and here it is. The army coming to claim Zavastra. I don't know that I want to fight this.
Okay.
Gosh, he outnumbers us. This is a better army than the one we just fought, probably, but also they're not great. So let's talk about this real quick. We've not seen an army from the Imperials yet. So we got some very basic lord, just man on horse type stuff. He's got some warrior priests alongside of him. So these are not spell casting units, but they have auras effectively that just confer large buffs on nearby units. Basic spear infantry, just the most sort of center of the road version of this thing, man with spear. You can see there 22 melee attack, but 42 melee defense. Actually pretty well defended. 15 bonus versus large puts them in kind of a mid-tier level of offense against large units, which is pretty cool considering that they are definitely tier 1 troops. But very, very low armor, not a lot of health. They have here some flagellants. These guys are crazy and frenzied and unbreakable. They never suffer leadership penalties, but they have 0 armor and not an especially large amount of health and 19 defense. So they just kind of get, they are a glass dagger, so to speak. And then very, very basic archers, some crossbows who are actually wearing a little bit of armor, and a single unit of guys on horseback with pistols. So not really an awesome force. I think I'm going to go ahead and let them have the auto-resolve here because of the fact that Azhag's right there.
Yeah.
If that weren't the case, I might try to fight them and at least maximize the damage. But this is actually, wow. They did take a lot of damage from that battle, more than I would say is probably reasonable. Well, again, there's a lot of them, but they're not really very good troops. So this Wargrove of Woe army is just kind of running into the center of our territory, and I don't think they have the capability to really get anything accomplished. All right, let's finish knocking this over. The gold infusion was nice, but let's be done with it. We've gained a backstabber. Don't like some gets, send in a backstabber. They're like nasty skulkers, but even meaner. Okay, up are our chances of stealing magic items. That's fine, whatever. Okay. Finally we have earned Smash 'em Faster.
Yeah, so I'm going to assume because I didn't play computer games, PC games, is why I didn't encounter patching.
Yeah, but I'm saying like PC games have been patching in PC games has been a thing for a very, very long time. It's certainly not with like the same level of commonality that it has today, but
whereas I played a lot of console games and it's a different put you off in these nuts.
Congratulations, you got it in there one more time. So you'll notice when he sacked Zavastra, not only did it damage the main settlement building, but it leveled the main settlement building down, which closed one of the building slots and de-leveled all of the other buildings as well. So getting your stuff sacked has a really significant cost. We had to take the coffin anyway. This was necessary, so I figured let's go ahead and grab it. But we also still have to grab Mordheim, but we do need control of this thing. But Mordheim's right there. Grognok will get it.
Yeah.
Warlord of 8 peaks.
Now, one thing I did want to talk about, because I'm a little confused by it. I don't understand why it's happening this way, and I guess at this point I don't see it really turning around. The faction that used to own the Blasted Waste, the Disciples of Hashut, it seems like they've just not produced any armies or military units in quite some time. Like, we didn't see them try to muster something to stop us, or, it's just no fight at all. Very weird. Very weird. Okay, so Skarsnik now. We are at 27 settlements. It will take the rest of the settlements. Like we have to take 3 more here and 1 more in Ostermark. So that's going to put us over the 30 right there. So we don't actually need Skarsnik to do anything else over here. So my inclination is to bring him back, I guess.
Okay.
I kind of don't even really want to hold on. Like, I don't care about holding on to this stuff.
Scheme worthy of
We did what we needed to do, which was get offensive. We can build defenses at Howling Rock, and hopefully, Grimgor will do his thing as regards to Skaven.
You've come for Grimgor's mercy.
I'm going to keep looking for the opportunity to get that,
I serve.
what do you call it? The opportunity to get that non-aggression pact. You know what, Gouger? Why don't you scout? Because it costs too much money. Because we are dead broke. Is why not? Well, then don't do that, I guess. All right. So we didn't. They'll back off of Zavastra now that they see Azhag, I assume. And my guess would be that they probably don't have more than just this one army. I think they're probably in pretty bad shape here. I guess one thing I didn't look at was how many settlements they have. You can usually make a sort of a soft guess at the ability, their ability to field units, just based on how many places they have that could be generating money. But this is really quite a small... The Empire is made up of a bunch of tiny little squabbling factions,
Yeah.
And a big part of the game, if you're playing as Karl Franz, is trying to unite the elector counts and
Harmless.
Yeah, it's very Holy Roman Empire. The Holy Roman Empire had like hundreds of individual polities with their own laws and traditions and privileges, and it's nuts. It's bonkers banana pants.
both bonkers and banana. Is that sorry? Is that two different things? Bonkers and banana pants, or is bonkers
No.
bonkers is an adjective that modifies banana pants?
Pants.
Or I guess
which is a
bonkers
compound word.
bonkers is probably an adverb because banana pants is probably an adjective, right?
No, here's the thing.
Yeah.
When that cat got married, he took the name Banana Pants, so it's
Okay.
bonkers E Banana Pants.
Who did he marry who had the last name Banana Pants?
Look, it's not my fault you're not up on the lore.
I know that's totally fair. Here's my problem with it. I have a lot of trouble following it because it's just like totally nuts.
Yep.
Oh,
Also,
Isilal
also
changed the stance.
ACAB.
Masterful ambush. Oh man, look out! So a funny thing about ambush stance is, as you've seen, right, the army goes invisible. Right. If you're watching somebody like we were there when you go into ambush stance, like we saw him just walk into this copse of trees and disappear, and it's just like, oh man, wherever
Where could
could
he
he
be?
be? But like the funny thing is, even though we know where he is, because we don't know where he is, there's no way for us to approach him safely. Like we could move our units kind of close, see if we defeat his hide check. But we probably won't. His ambush stance is literally described as masterful. And if we don't, then it's just like, well, I try not to walk into him, I guess, because he'll ambush your ass. Anyway, the Nemesis crown's back. The ancient and powerful artifact whispers to you from somewhere in the Empire, promising great blah, blah, blah. It lies near a river in the Empire. I'm going to not worry about it. That's my feeling. All right, we have reduced all of our army upkeep by 5%. Forged by the infamous Dowie runesmith Alaric the Bad. Dowie is a dwarf. That's the dwarven name for the dwarf civilization.
Okay.
I don't really care about I don't know what a Nemesis crown is, and I don't care about it. To more time! Chomp. And occupy. All right, so first of all, with that, we've become a certified lumberjack.
All right.
Army is more powerful when fighting against wood elves. We have secured a province that we had to secure for our endgame. And on top of that, we have now, I think, taken the last settlement that the Wargrove of Woe owned. So their army is going to start suffering massive attrition damage. Unless they can, take someplace. Just get a hold of something.
Cool beans.
So yeah, hopefully we'll be rid of them real soon. Just put some money-making buildings in. You tell him, Grognok. Grognok is going to get casualty replenishment rate up considerably for orc units and vigor loss reduction for the entire army. You're not dead till I say you are. I appreciate the orcish leadership style. It's very straightforward, it's very to the point. Purple Sun of Xerius is a fun spell. We haven't actually gotten to see any of Azhag's improved magics because of the way things have gone. So that's a thing we could resolve.
Yeah.
Here, let's walk over outside of Zavastra. We're not going to be able to get to Wolfram lore this turn anyway. Wow, it takes a lot of turns to upgrade your WOG output. So upkeep down for WOG mob units and unbreakable. Improved rewards for each successful WOG and reputation up is always good. Passive ability Primal Rage. Affecting intensity increases with time spent engaged in melee. So a scaling damage, weapon damage bonus up to 25% over the course of battle. I mean, these are cool bonuses. I think I would just take this. Like, you want to be running reputation all the time. You just want to be in murder mode all the time, right?
Yeah, I guess my question is, if you think it's gonna be less than 10 turns for the game,
I do.
would it make sense to have taken one of
Gobbler's angry.
Here's the
Okay.
thing. I can't imagine it mattering.
the? Okay.
15.
I'm not trying to say that our victory is 100% assured or that this game is too easy. Because to say such a thing, first of all, would be the height of hubris. That's embarrassing for me on a personal level. And secondly, obviously would be inviting some comic punishment. But we're going to be fine, I think.
You're playing on a super hard difficulty too.
We're playing on very hard, by which I mean the campaign difficulty and the battle difficulty are both set to very hard. We are not playing without pausing in battles. We're not playing with battle realism mode, which does some things to line of sight and prevents you from controlling battle speed in some ways. So it's not like the hardest the game can be, but yeah, the enemies have some extra numbers. They have some cheats.
Whereas I'm struggling on easy in my Pharaoh game, so
Okay. So what we're gonna do here is we still actually have a couple of legendary item quests for Azag. We should do these. We should get into some cool legendary item fights, and then get to use our abilities to some degree. So this one for the cool armor, for the totally sick armor. Was it? Worker, please. He stop muck about. Shaman declares that Azag needs one final bloodbath, one more bout of carnage, and the Great Green will enter his armor and make it properly hard. So, down to Bretonia. Let's go fuck up some Bretonians. The Bretonnians are essentially the French.
right, that makes sense.
So we have a lot of very very fancy cavalry type units with a lot of very developed pageantry. They have some trebuchets. They have a very like a religious thing going on with this figure called the Lady in the Lake, who is it's a whole thing. We're not gonna get into their whole thing right now, but that's who we're fighting in this battle, Bretonnians. Reinforcements expected, and something tells me they're going to be riding horses. It's just a feeling I have. Unfortunately for them, that's a really bad idea against this army. This army is really good against horse and larger type units. That hill, Grutznik's Mound, is the key, and the Humies are camped on it. But these Humies like their nags. No doubt they're behind the hill ready to flank Azag's force. But Azag wasn't born yesterday. He don't know when he was born. So he'll need to make sure the Humies and the nags don't catch him off guard. Smash the hill-based gits before the pincer closes. Okay. I love fending off the idea that he was born yesterday with, I don't know when I was born.
That's pretty good.
So the number one most important thing here, of course, is going to be defending the catapults from cavalry charges.
Stupid, flouncy humans think they can trounce all over our sacred ground. That burial mound is Morg's property, not some fishy-smelling lake house. Flippin' hat, stop whispering at me, I know. Come on, lads. We're gonna stamp these kids and send them running back to their pretty towers. I've had my vision from Morg himself. He reckons we do this, it's gonna sort my armor out real good. And I won't have to knock you all about. What's that? Yes, we'll go south afterwards. Let's go. Let's kill some knights.
So I like the way these quest battles and these like speeches and stuff give you a little bit of a feeling of the character.
Yeah.
I like getting to hear him arguing with his hat. So we have great care for this. I mean, look at the rock formations. Obviously, this is an orc place. How fucking dare they? Now they have 4 units of field trebuchets. They have the hillside, and their siege weaponry is accurate to a range of 440 units. So they outrange us even without the fact that they also have height on us. We are not going to be able to play the stand back and pick at them game here. However, it's worth noting that 440 does not actually get them much of our deployment box. So, like, as we are deployed right now, our catapults are outside the range of their siege stuff. And I think my plan is going to be to play everything back, to sort of like split into the woods and try to fight their horses in the woods. Maybe? I don't know. What do you think? This is kind of a weird situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think the general way to approach this militarily is to try to mass a bunch of force against one of these, knock it out, so then you can turn around and fight the other two.
Okay.
So I think trying to go for one of the two, in the woods flanks, where they do seem to be less numerous, and knocking them out is probably a good place to start.
All right. Can I advance a
Yeah.
problem I have with that immediately? We're talking about
Yeah.
flanking forces that are made entirely of 90 speed cavalry units. If we mass up on this side and then go to turn around and fight these guys, they'll have time to go kill our catapults, go home, make some sandwiches, have a nice little picnic, and then get back to the battlefield before we even get over there.
Yeah, and
35 speed on our infantry.
Okay.
I don't think we can do this like mass and just kind of roll back and forth thing. I think they have the mobility advantage, and we are going to have to live with that. So they have pole arms back here. They have a couple units of archers. Like, they have what it takes to stop me from just flying Azhag back here and having him eat the trebuchets one by one.
Yeah.
But there's definitely still some fun stuff we can do on that front. Some stuff I fully intend to do on that front.
Yeah. I will say that
The Black Orcs are even slower.
Given the speed of that cavalry, a thing that people will do in fights, in real fights, is they will have some part of the force there to pin the other flank in place to slow them down, to delay them, but that is very costly in casualties. Yeah, but like slow them down enough to give the others a chance to really knock them out. But a lot of those kind of battle tactics depend on trusting that you have the punch to knock them out quickly. So this also seems good.
So what I'm going to do here is kind of like split us into 2 wedges.
Yeah.
The Biggins have Vanguard deployment, but without the rest of them having Vanguard deployment, I'm a little leery of using it and having the Biggins just get kind of like sandwiched out here by themselves.
Right.
Especially since we can't actually Vanguard deploy into the trees. You can see the white area indicating the edge of Vanguard deployment range. So I can only deploy into the open near the trees where they can just charge us.
Yeah. I think 2 wedges is a good idea. I think 2 wedges allows you to be aggressive.
So we're gonna try it. We're gonna try this here, and then we're gonna do something with the Azhag that I hope is gonna be really cool.
And then that should also kind of prevent the immediate kind of encirclement.
Yeah, my biggest concern here is like, it doesn't feel like I'm leaving back very much to defend the catapults. So I'm debating like, maybe we keep. You know what? Maybe we keep the Black Orcs back. It feels a little silly to like have our strongest melee units just not get into melee, but they're also so slow. So maybe I have them stick around and just play back here.
Yeah. And often it's very elite units in armies that are held in reserve or held in a defensive position, and then they come in later so that they're fresh and they're packing more of a punch while the enemy is hopefully a little more tired.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that makes sense.
All right, let's do something crazy.
Faster!
Flight is cool. Flight is very helpful for this kind of work.
Faster!
So we still don't have access to... Wow, good catapult shot. We still don't have access to the best magic in our actual lore. But
Okay.
we do have some magic. We have the bound magic given to us by the helmet. I'm actually going to have you try to meet them in the middle. You guys right here. It seems like these yeomen are just on the charge, so let's just let them... Let's let them do that. Over here on this side, we want to be a little bit careful about the spider. These guys do have kind of crummy stats overall. 26 attack, 26 defense. Their charge bonus is not nothing, though. And then they have bonus... they have a bunch of bonus leadership as long as there's a proper knight within range. They haven't... This Bretonnian force hasn't started with any knights on the table, which is interesting. And almost certainly means that they're going to have a bunch of knights coming in as reinforcements. Because they wouldn't put us up at... having a Bretonnian force that has no knights assigned to it would be like if you went up against some greenskins and there weren't any goblins or orcs. It's like, with that, where's the identity of this army? Why are they not...
Right.
So Azhag is faking like he's going to join battle here, but in fact, aerial flank. Okay, over here we have the guys trying to set up the charge on the catapults. Looks like... I mean, it looks like they're getting... I think they're going to get away with that. That's annoying. But these guys over here are getting bogged down already. I want to be watching the majority of the fight, but we have to micromanage Azhag to do his thing, so... first of all, as we're just driving by, we can certainly drop a Spirit Leech on their lord. We have to get a little closer than I would like. Maybe I won't bother. But yeah, we're headed for these trebuchets, obviously. Now, one thing that's interesting is that the trebuchets seem to have stopped moving, which I was not expecting. I thought they were still going to be marching. That's going to make this a little bit easier if I want to just, take the shot. This is probably not the best use of this ability, but it is going to be visually impressive.
All right.
So this is the Wind of Death, which is a spell that is given to Azhag by his magic helmet. Winding it up.
Attack the enemy!
You can see that was that was actually not that impressive in terms of total casualties. And they have continued to march their units fully just forward. So I guess Azhag is going to sit back here and just eat all their trebuchets. What a weird decision. Meanwhile, they're trying to do the same thing to me, and I'm defending myself a little bit. These knights are bound up in trolls and whatnot, and that's... The Black Orcs got in front of the charge, and... Yep, the catapult crews are kind of back far enough, but we also have this group of mounted yeomen back here. I think those guys are under control. You come for this. And also, all the ones out in the field are either running or bound up in a situation where they're completely doomed. So I'm actually going to, I think... How far can you guys hit? I'm gonna have our boss. No, he's still a lot slower than their cavalry. Even our cavalry is only like 60 speed. Bretonnian horses are very, very good. They have the breeding and the mechanics. You three are not actually contributing to the battle at this point. I think turn around. The horses all went around you. Yeah, they're going to get into the crews a little bit, but we can hopefully blunt some of that. And you can see what these guys, the biggest problem these guys have is that without knights around to tell them what to do, they just don't have the guts for like prolonged combat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the hell they are doing. Spider's doing a good job of just kind of like hanging along with them, grabbing one here and there, and letting the goblins on its back get the shots in where they can. Big buff to everybody's melee stats. Okay, so their units are starting to approach. Their foot units. They've actually run their lord way ahead, which I don't understand at all as a move. But we're gonna see if we can't just like fall in and envelop this dude.
How's Azag doing?
One of the spiders has chased a couple of groups of yeomen all the way up into this area, so I guess we're just gonna give them. Azag's gonna receive some support here. And meanwhile, Azag has broken one unit of trebuchet crew, and he's turning on the second one. I don't know what the hell these guys are doing. Let's get you back over here, and you know we have some spells we could use. Actually, you know what? Let me disable the archers here real fast. Yep, that's what that looks like. And here come the yep, they're pulling some guys back now because they realize they've made an error, but I think it's definitely too little too late.
Let's do this.
I'm trying so hard to click on the flag of this guy. So one thing that their lord has managed to do is he has managed to just through sheer force and bloody mindedness get into contact with one of the catapult crews. They also have a wizard. So they have a damsel, a wizard of the heavens lore, just sort of in the middle of the battlefield. Kind of, I don't know what she thinks she's doing, but we are definitely going to put an orc on her. And you'll notice we've not even drawn enough blood to get a good wog going yet. Get through there. And murder mode. Yeah, that... We're mostly keeping him off of the stuff. Yeah, he's gonna be dead real soon. You guys keep chasing those archers. Let's get the rest of these trebuchet crews out here. I was kind of expecting like reinforcement knights to show up at some point, but I think at this point it wouldn't even matter anymore. I don't think.
They're definitely supposed to. They're definitely listed as having allies, and I haven't.
Well, the allied forces were the yeoman wedges.
Oh no, that sucks. That's not how you do that.
I can't believe this was the full force. That's crazy. We've killed every enemy character. Who is still alive? Nobody. Okay. I was going to say, everybody it looks like everybody's retreating or dead. All right, 30. Loss is 30.
Oh, that's
The hell kind of quest?
Oh.
What the hell kind of quest battle is that? The first one was so much harder. At least the first one had a flank in it.
And skeletons.
Yeah. 150 kills on the Black Orcs. Just stand there and let the horses run into the axes. Jesus. When you think about like so for we don't have on the tabletop it's a little bit easier to tell, like you can just put an orc next to a human. But orcs, like generally speaking, an orc boy is bigger than a human man.
Okay.
And the biggins are bigger than the normal orcs, right? So like these guys fighting horses, like you're talking about a guy who stands effectively like a big muscular 10-foot tall guy.
Yeah.
With some kind of big crude two-handed weapon, basically just a piece of jagged metal. So yeah, those poor fucking horses, like what a terrible day for them. Only one of the trebuchets actually managed to hit anything. This is...
Oh, wait. Those are those are the number of things that they killed?
Yeah. 0, 0, 0, and 4.
Yeah, that's...
This is a bizarre battle. Well, quest complete. Cool armor gained. I guess we'll just take the replenishment and go back to exactly full. And we got 5,000 gold in addition to our cool armor. With our cool bonus armor and defense effects. Would you believe that? Would you believe it? That caused him to level up. So Doom and Darkness is just a big leadership bomb. Yeah, we'll take that. Our Snide Tifraba is becoming very, very tough indeed. What else do you need, really? I think everything in this army already causes fear, right? Well, he doesn't... You know what? We'll just give him fearsome presence, because whatever. So, he's level 19. This is actually... He's very close to... Level 20 is a very significant level. Mechanically speaking. Our army's actually, like, completely at full health. Do we want to just knock out the other quest battle?
If you want, yeah.
Get our slashes, too?
All right.
Yeah, fuck it. So for the battle against the slashes, we're up against some other greenskins. Reinforcements expected. Alright, Aztec's top boss says no, that's not why he wants to go south. It's because the hat's telling him to go south. Alright. Let's go get some weapons. The reinforcements that are expected are not very impressive. Usually the quest battles are a little bit more compelling than this. So one thing I will say is that Azhag is one of the original characters. The very first release of Total War Warhammer 1, Azhag was one of the lords in it. So I wonder to some extent if the thing that's happening here is just that, like, there are elements that have not been redesigned, or, you know...
Okay.
It may be that we're suffering from them just kind of not having their footing yet when they put his stuff together. These orcs may be savages, but they have yet to face the slaughterer. To be clear, savages 100% complimentary when spoken by one orc to about another orc.
These savages are getting in my way. They're led by some kid called Slagger. I want his head. Shut up, crowd. This is not a waste of time. We kill who I say we kill. The plan's simple. I want a full pincer movement. Attacking from the east and west flanks at the same time will increase our chances of success. What? Sonny Deadblock taking up my words again. Get your choppers out, lads. It's time to move. Yeah, if you want to do that flanking maneuver once it, we probably should, because I've got a feeling it might work.
It felt a little too smart for an orc.
Yeah. I really like this because you've seen in a lot of sort of fantasy media, right? This idea of like the cursed thing that contains the spirit of a person who overtakes the wearer, either
Yeah.
either immediately or like over time in a more insidious way. And I really like the idea of an orc just being too sort of like bloody minded and ornery for that really to work on him. I don't know that there's a lot of like technique that I want to apply here. I think we're just kind of run at him.
Yeah.
We could do a flank and move and cut off their reinforcements or whatever. Or we got a small amount of boar boys coming from back here. I'm gonna just like leave. This time I'm gonna leave Biggins on defense because anti-large. And I'm going to kind of have everybody else, not these 4 units of Biggins, just kind of, forwardly, do things in a sort of forwardly fashion. Gits are approaching from the south, whatever. Let's crush. What do you think about the sort of the variety of environments?
It's neat. It's I like that there are some terrain features. Yeah, I don't know how many there are total, but I've seen a few different ones, and I dig that.
Alright, they're about to be in catapult range.
I definitely prefer when there are some, because again, I've been playing that Pharaoh game, and there are some battles where there's some really useful terrain, and some where there really isn't. And boy, I prefer it when there's an interesting thing for me to use or maneuver around or hide behind or an obstacle to overcome.
Yeah. Boy, they're so concerned about where Azhag is. They're kind of like disregarding the rest of the battle. I'm just gonna have him like. You guys wanna come over here and just kind of stand in catapult range, or? They could be charging. Instead, they're taking an awful lot of rock fire.
Choppers ready! Moving fast! Ready to bash! Zeppelin, let's do this!
I think there's some chance that they're the boar boys are just gonna ride for our main force instead of attempting to engage with the siege units, which would be, I think, a terrible play. But it may be what's happening here. Let's just engage the engagement machine. I'm tired of standing around. Go forth, consume their archers and their lord or whatever. We'll get to them. I should probably also, use my cool magic.
Yeah, let's see some cool magic, baby.
We'll try the wind of death again. It's not going to do that much damage here, but oh no, they're moving out of it. The cowards. Actually, it did all right. So you can see here, a lot of their units are kind of freaking out and running away before contact is even properly made. 3 of their units of boars did decide to run up on us, and the 4th one is maybe the 4th one's trying to like wrap around. Yeah, they're trying to do like a sneaky. Let me see if we can kind of get ourselves around the edge of these boar boys and hold them from 2 different sides. And then let's get, now that the battle is mostly joined, let's get our Black Orc boss here into killing position. Because the thing he wants more than anything is to have words with the enemy commander. see the enemies are surrendering all over the place already. Deadly onslaught, smash them faster. All right, you guys don't need to do that. Fall back in. Wow, they're so surrendering. The degree of the surrendering is even I am a little off guard. All right, kids, don't get distracted now. I should have had them in guard mode. This is on me. We're having people get distracted chasing the damaged units, and so the ones that are the ones that ran away first and then recovered are getting to turn around and attack the catapults. So we actually are going to come out of this with damaged catapults, which is annoying.
Yeah. I have a somewhat related question, because so I've seen you play a few of these battles at this point, and I appreciate that very much.
All right, we just brained their lord.
Good job. And I know there's a 1 hour time limit. It has never taken more than like 10 minutes of game clock time for one of these battles to wrap up. Is that generally true for your play style? Have you ever seen a battle take longer than that? Like,
I mean, that's just generally
true. Like there's
the idea of it. The idea of the hour timer is basically just there so you can't like sit in the corner and completely refuse to engage, right? There just needs to be some amount of time after which the attacker loses if they're not playing the game. An hour is like an arbitrary number it's picked to be far enough out in the distance that it's never going to like really affect the battle.
Okay.
There just has to be a time at which that happens. So I should have been babysitting. I should have been doing the boring thing and just babysitting the rock lobbers for that whole fight, because the rest of our forces had that very under control. But because the orcs had that low leadership break and retreat and regroup and come back thing, on their second attack, they were able to do some pretty significant damage to the rock lobber crews. Which is going to mean reduced readiness in the battles to come probably just for a turn or two. Completing these quest battles, of course, gives us a significant replenishment bonus, and then we're going to end the turn in a friendly settlement on top of that. So, and then on top of that, the only enemy army in the area is at half strength or less, probably. I guess at this point he will have had a full turn inside his own settlement to recover. So probably better than that, but still weak is my point.
Yeah.
And you can see our units are starting to get up into the gold ranks. Ranks 7, 8, and 9, which are, linearly more powerful than the silver ranks, but they do have access to those extra buffs from a developed enough commander.
Okay.
I'm going to take the replenishment here because it very significantly recovers the siege weapons. Okay, now we got some cool bonus offensive capability for Azhag. Azhag is all tricked out. Go ahead and spend our turn here. And yeah, it looks like we'll be fully replenished. Okay, this unit won't quite be full next turn. They'll be at like 95%. And Snide Tiefraba has hit level 20. So, level 20 is a big deal. Non-legendary characters who reach level 20 become immortal.
Okay.
When normally killed in action, they just become wounded instead, and then 5 turns later they're back. So once you've sort of invested enough in a character, they can't be permanently removed from the game anymore. It is a real shame to have a Black Orc big boss or like a critical map hero get built up to a point where they're really effective and you're starting to rely on them and they're like level 16 or 17 and something bad happens and you lose them permanently, it can really derail your strategy sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's very good that we've gotten him up to this point. Let's improve his stats even further. Zavastra needs to get rebuilt so we can put its walls back up. Yeah, and at this point, so here's Wolfram Lore and Castle von Rocken. This is the faction that just attacked us.
My time with petty talk. Make your offer and be done.
They own 4 settlements in total, 1 right here and the rest in this area. It's worth noting they don't own this land, which we can see if we click on Ostland. Norden and Wolfenburg, which are in this area, are owned by 2 different factions. One of them, another Empire faction. One of them, some ogres, actually. The fact that Wolfenburg is currently owned by an ogre army is very curious to me.
Okay.
I kind of thought the Empire must just be doing really well if the main Imperial faction is spread as far east as Kappelberg, but I wonder if they maybe have actually some pretty significant problems in sort of the center of what you usually think of as the Empire, and maybe they're kind of smaller and just east shifted from their normal position. And that's that's an interesting kind of like, you can start to develop like feeling about where people are in their development and how they're doing based on how far they are from the places where they usually are over the course of, because you get used to where factions generally are, both based on their start position and over the course of multiple games.
Right.
And that's the thing that only really happens because of the static map, which is interesting. Scarsnake is leveling up, in case you were curious. I know I moused over this very briefly last time, but one of Scarsnake's things is that he absorbs XP from your other characters.
That's cool.
He steals the experience points, so he is leveling up when 25% of experience earned by other lords goes to him instead. So your Scarsnake will tend to level up very quickly. Where do we need defenses? I guess Mordheim would be the most important place. And then... Oh, not Igorov. Okay, we're upgrading all of our meaningful buildings here. So let us... At the end of the turn... Oh, I guess we can, can set up our commandment here since we now have control of Ostland. Or Ostermark? Whatever. Whichever one that was.
Yeah.
They have such similar names. Who could possibly keep them straight? We're not really going to do anything on this next turn. But I want to end the game end the episode at the start of this coming turn with some idea where we're headed toward our final objective push here. So we're still seeing the Disciples of Ashut running stuff around. Do they still own anything? Oh, Clan Rictus is Tretch Craventail's faction. I thought he was... I thought he was somewhere else on the map. I can't always keep the Skaven clans straight. There's a lot of Skaven characters. But that's pretty interesting. Tretch Craventail is a very annoying enemy to fight. Here's Masha Bigaget running what looks like almost a real army composition. Wow, look at this. Vlad is strength rank 79. He's getting his ass handed to him. And that means that the Wargrove of Woe actually is not defeated because the vampires never managed to drive them out of Sylvania. So he wants a defensive alliance. He wants me to shore up his back here. Defensive alliances are interesting potentially pretty dangerous. If somebody declares, if a player declares war on someone who is in a defensive alliance, everyone that they're in an alliance with is duty bound to declare war on the aggressor.
Okay.
And it can cause big diplomatic problems if you refuse. Obviously, nobody likes an oath breaker. We, by the way, are considered to be an oath breaker here. Our reliability is quite low. I think what happened with this is we took right before we attacked those savage orcs who were in control of Kislev. We took like a military access pact with them or something, which I didn't perceive as including the idea of non-aggression, but I think the game does. And so when we attacked them, it trashed our reliability, and that's when Skarsnik attacked us and stuff.
Generally, in like the world, giving someone military access and then attacking them is like, that's
Amabel. First of all,
that's common sense.
It was a. Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you got upset. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you.
That was a mean thing to say.
I wasn't trying to be mean. I'm sorry.
No, never mind.
The remark.
Never mind.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, I see what this guy's problem is. He's got Visseland all the way up his ass. At some point, Visseland and Null came over here and claimed all of vampiredom. You know what? This is not my problem. I was gonna explain the thing, but if you're gonna be mean, damn.
I'm sorry I was mean. I would like you to explain the thing.
Okay,
I'll
so
be good.
We do actually have to kill Drycha now, but Grognok's right here. We'll be fine. Okay, so they do have two armies, but they're both in kind of like weird shape. They're like 12 or 13 unit badly damaged armies. Grimgor's Wog ended in failure, which is embarrassing for him. We discovered Drycha in ambush mode. So she went into ambush mode, and because she was in vision range of one of our settlements, at the beginning of our turn, we got a reveal roll, and we passed.
Okay.
So she has been knocked out of ambush mode. The Bray herds come. Out of the forest they emerge, the horned beasts that stand upright, blah, blah, blah. There's some goat folk amassing. Well, somebody's got to burn down Castle Templehof, but it's not my problem immediately. Like, Grognok's just going to have to kill her. But let's focus on actual objectives here. So, as things stand, we are now in control of Ostermark, Erskoy, the Northern World's Edge Mountains, and Peak Pass. All we have left to take is Ostland, which is 3 territories: Castle von Rocken, Norden, which is like up here, and Wolfenburg, which I think is further down, or I might be reversing those two. But in any case, they're all like right here.
Okay.
So that's basically just a forward march with Azhag. And we are already at 28 settlements, occupied, looted, razed, or sacked. So obviously that'll push us over. So we're basically there. We are knocking on the door of a kind of victory, a flavor of victory. But obviously from this point it would be a lot of the same, basically just running armies at. And obviously like you get interesting situations because like, they own this land and we own, but yeah, after we get the short campaign victory, we'll probably just be jumping to another campaign entirely.
No, that makes sense to me because like I'm enjoying this a lot, but it has been 77 turns so far. That's a lot of turns.
Yeah, I mean, we're just now getting to the point where we can actually recruit all of our units. Like we have those rogue idols. You've never seen a rogue idol in combat because we're just now getting the capability to even buy them. So it's not that like you act like 77 is a huge number because board games, but as far as like the mechanical arc of this game, it's not really a huge value. Anyway, that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. When you come back next time, we'll be endeavoring to make the final blood-soaked push with Aztec the Slaughterer without losing everything in our backfield to angry tree people or wayward vampires or all these damn Imperials that are all of a sudden showing up from everywhere. So come
What the
back
hell?
to see if we can, and we'll see you then.